Hello and welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Parikshit Luthra. Here are the headlines we are tracking this evening. Markets attempt a recovery after an early fall, but it's not enough to break into positive territory. Nifty and sensex slip around 0.5% each as almost every sector comes under heavy pressure. Nifty bank ends over 1% lower. Bitcoin starts 2024 with a bang, hits a 21-month peak of $45,000 ahead of a potential ETF approval from the American regulator. Analysts give bold price predictions for the cryptocurrency this year. Predictions range from $60,000 to $500,000 mark. Petrol pumps across several parts of the country run out of fuel as truckers continue to protest for the second day. They are protesting against a 10-year jail term for hit-and-run offences under the revised criminal law. Chandigarh imposes temporary restriction on sale of petrol and diesel amid panic buying. Government is meeting the Transporters Union to address their concerns. The government tweaks the auto PLI scheme partially, extends its tenure by a year. The incentive scheme will now be applicable for a total of 5 years till FY28. The centre also says that if a company fails to achieve the determined sales value for any year, it will not receive any incentive for that year. Can receive incentives next year if it meets the threshold. The Supreme Court seeks details from the Centre on railway safety measures. A PIL alleges that Govt, the automatic train protection system, has not been deployed yet. The court asked the Centre to respond to allegations, directs for clarity on the status of Govt. At least 48 people confirmed dead in Japan and several injured after a major earthquake hits the Ishikawa prefecture. Powerful aftershocks cause deep cracks in roads, buildings collapse, and fires also take place. Prime Minister Fumio Kishida says it's a race against time to rescue the victims. It was a narrow escape for over 370 passengers on board the Japan Airlines plane that went up in flames while landing at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. The plane caught fire after colliding with the Coast Guard aircraft. 5 of the 6 crew members in the Coast Guard are reportedly dead. Old guards make a comeback in the capital markets in 23. Market cap gains of CK Birla, TVS Anger and RPG groups outpace industry titans. Tata Group, however, tops the chart in absolute terms. Regulatory upheavals make 2023 a tough ride for the insurance sector. Penetration of the Indian life insurance sector declines marginally. Insurance density improves. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar says Canadian politics has given space to Khalistani forces, adds that it also allowed them to indulge in activities that directly impact Indo-Canadian bilateral ties. Straight to the day's market action. It was a day of profit-taking after the Dalal Street ended in the red, but off the day's lows. Nifty managed to hold on to the 21,600 mark. Sensex fell over 350 points, while Nifty lost over 70 points. But bank stocks remained the biggest laggards, with the index falling over 1%. Pharma stocks were the outperformers after they saw buying in a volatile market. That index hit record highs in today's trading session. Oil prices. Yes, oil prices rose after Iran dispatched a warship to the Red Sea in retaliation to the US attack on Houthi boats. The situation in the Red Sea route remains tense after attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels. Remember, this move comes after the US Navy destroyed boats of Iran-backed Houthi rebels, killing 10 militants. Moving on, the government has hiked windfall gains tax on domestic crude oil from 1,300 rupees per ton to 2,300 rupees per ton. Windfall taxes on aviation turbine fuel and diesel has been removed. The windfall tax on petrol continues to remain nil. China's manufacturing activity, as per a private survey, picked up in December, in contrast to the government data. As per the Kekson survey, China's Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index expanded to 50.8 in December from 50.7 in November. This was the quickest pace of expansion since May last year. However, the data from the country's National Statistics Bureau, released on Sunday, highlighted a contraction in manufacturing activity. Moving on, Bitcoin has started 2024 with a bang. The cryptocurrency hit a 2-month peak of a 21-month peak of $45,000 ahead of a potential ETF approval from the American regulator. Analysts have given bold price predictions for the cryptocurrency this year. Manisha Gupta joins us now with the details. Manisha, great start for the Bitcoin. What can we expect going forward in 2024?
Well, yes, after a very strong rebound in 2023, this year has started on a stronger note for cryptocurrencies, where we are looking at Bitcoin now crossing above $45,000. It's trading at the highest since April 2022, and the markets do believe that you could be looking at higher gains from here. Actually, when you look at the last 24 hours itself, Bitcoin is gained up by 6%, Ether is up 4%. These are those cryptocurrencies which are traded in higher volumes and have the highest market capital as well. Solana and Avalanche have gained up by 9% in last 24 hours. The reason that you are looking at gains is, one, there's a very strong anticipation that the US SEC will approve the spot Bitcoin ETFs. There are some 3 or 4 applications on that already. The second reason is the Bitcoin halving, which is going to happen in April 2024. Every time you see a Bitcoin halving happen, which happens every 4 years, there is a strong run-up rally that we see in Bitcoin, and the markets are anticipating this could happen this time too. The other reason is the institutional interest. So there is money flowing into cryptocurrencies, given the fact that we are looking at weaker economic data. The currencies also have seen a pressure, and that interest really seems to be coming in for this one. The outlook for 2024 for Bitcoin continues to be quite strong. Mark Mobius, in a recent interview to CNBC, has said that they're expecting $60,000 to come back in case of Bitcoin in this year, and then you have 75,000 to 80,000 to 100,000 kind of levels coming in from various companies like Bitmining, Nexo. Stanchart is talking about 100,000, and the most bullish of outlook for Bitcoin comes in from Coin Fund at $500,000 coming in for this year itself.
All right, Bitcoin hitting a 21-month high. Moving on to nationwide protests by truck and bus associations against a higher jail term for hit-and-run offences under the revised criminal law has entered day 2. As per the recently passed Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, a separate clause has been inserted to deal with hit-and-run cases. Section 106, subsection 2 provides for a punishment of up to 10 years in such cases. Also, it is a non-bailable offence. However, if a person immediately reports to a police officer or magistrate about the accident caused by reckless driving, the individual will not be charged under that particular clause. Protesting truck associations claim that the new rules are too harsh. Multiple protests across India have impacted the supply of fuel across several parts, leading to heavy rush outside petrol pumps. Chandigarh has imposed temporary restriction on sale of petrol and diesel amid panic buying. Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla is chairing a meeting with the All India Motor Transport Congress. Rachna Dhanrajani gets us the latest from Mumbai.
What you're seeing behind me is a massive queue of extremely disappointed and not very pleased Mumbaikars who've been waiting in the queue for about 60 minutes to get their turn to fill up the tanks of their vehicles.
पेट्रोल पंप पे 2 गया था, धारावी में 2-3 पेट्रोल पंप पे पेट्रोल नहीं था, तभी जाकर यहाँ आया हूँ। यहाँ आने के बाद आधा घंटा लाइन लगाया हूँ।
Now this comes in as all the other petrol pumps in the vicinity have started running dry with no stock left of petrol or diesel. Now the reason why this particular petrol pump in Matunga has any stock left is because of this one tanker that was allowed to be brought in this morning. This was especially escorted by police officials, a police van and head of the Petrol Pump Association.
By today evening, I think most of the petrol pumps will run dry. By today evening, all the Bombay petrol pumps will run dry. If somebody has taken product yesterday, 20 kilo, then all people going there to rush to fill the petrol. So that also will go dry.
The shortage around the city is due to, of course, the truck driver protest that's on its day 2 today. It is supposed to be a 3-day protest, but because there's no certainty or any assurance coming from anywhere, the protest is expected to go on for a little bit longer than just 3 days. This is Rachna Dhanrajani in Mumbai.
All right, we will be keeping an eye out for those protests across the country. The government, for the moment, saying that there is no strike call per se, and all efforts are now to resolve and address the concerns being raised by truckers and transporters across the country. The government has partially tweaked the Auto PLI scheme, extended its tenure by a year. The incentive scheme will now be applicable for a total of 5 years till FY28. A quick recap. The The automotive PLI scheme was launched in 21 with an outlay of roughly 26,000 crores. 20 vehicle original equipment manufacturers and 75 component OEMs had qualified for the scheme. To date, 3 OEMs, that is Tata Motors, Mahindra and Ola, have received certification for the scheme for 22 products in total. No component maker has received certification so far. The auto industry had requested for an extension of the PLI scheme by 1 year as there was uncertainty over the formula for calculating domestic value addition. The guidelines for DVA had been issued recently. The amendment also states that if an approved company fails to meet the threshold for increased sales value for the first year, then it will not receive incentives for that year, but the same company will be eligible for benefits next year if it meets the threshold calculated on the basis of 10% year-on-year growth over the first year's threshold.
With this extension, the incentive starts from 23-24 and continues till 27-28. And since the certifications have started happening now, and now the industry will get the incentive for 5 years. Otherwise, the incentive would have got cut to 4 years, even though the intention was to give the incentive for 5 years. So therefore, this is a very, very welcome step. And of course, it is in the right direction.
The Supreme Court heard multiple public interest litigations today opposing key laws like the Election Commission Appointment Act and the new criminal code. Ashmit Kumar is here with a roundup of all the hearings in the Supreme Court and the Apex Court's response.
Well, day one of courtroom action in the Apex Court, and the Supreme Court saw a whole slew of PILs. Number one, a PIL has been filed challenging the Election Commission appointment process. Under this PIL, it challenges the new law which provides for a selection panel consisting of the Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition and the Cabinet Minister. Here, the PIL cites the earlier March 2023 formula had been proposed by the Apex Court, which includes the Prime Minister, Leader of Opposition and the Chief Justice of India. Number two, again a fresh PIL. This fresh PIL challenges the 3 new criminal laws, the new criminal law framework that has been introduced, that has been passed by the Parliament in the winter session. The PIL says that there are numerous defects and discrepancies as a part of this new criminal law framework, and is calling for a review committee, an expert committee to be headed by a retired Supreme Court judge to review this entire new framework that is being proposed for replacing the existing criminal law framework. And finally, number 3, this is again a PIL. This PIL raises questions on railway safety, cites incidents and recent crashes like we saw in the case of Balasore, and is questioning what safety measures are being deployed by the Railway Ministry. To that end, also in fact argues that and claims that the Govt system, which has in fact been authorized by the Indian government, has not been deployed on Indian rails. And to that end, the Supreme Court sending this petition to the Attorney General and seeking answers from the government as to what the status of the Govt program is and what the status of the safety measures are.
All right, thanks Ashmit for getting us a roundup of all that happened in the Supreme Court today. Moving on, Reliance Industries invested 3,300 crore rupees in Alok Industries. The investment was made through the subscription of non-convertible, redeemable preferential shares. The shares were issued to Reliance at a dividend of 9% on a private placement basis. The preferential shares will be redeemable at par anytime within a period of not more than 20 years from the date of allotment. Shares of Alok Industries soared 20% and hit a 52-week high on the back of this development. The United States Food and Drug Administration has issued 5 observations to Torrent Pharma for its Chhatral unit in Gujarat. In a letter accessed by CNBC-TV18, the US FDA has observed that the plant has failed to review any unexplained discrepancy. The authority also observed that the equipments were not cleaned and maintained at appropriate intervals and that accuracy and specificity of test methods were not established. And speaking of the United States Food and Drug Administration, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that Sarah McMullen, India head of the organization, is set to transition out by the middle of this year and will move to China as a country director. Moving on, online travel platform Ease My Trip board has approved a proposal to raise 1,000 crore rupees. The fundraise will be via a combination of preferential issue of equity shares along with warrants. The big international story we have been tracking this evening: at least 48 people are confirmed dead in Japan and several injured after a major earthquake hit the Ishikawa prefecture in the country. Powerful aftershocks have caused deep cracks in roads, building collapses and triggered fires. In the Vajima city alone, authorities have reported that over 100 homes and buildings have been severely impacted with fires. According to Japan's Geospatial Information Authority, the earthquake has moved land up to 1.3 meters in the city. Rescue operations are on across Ishikawa. Around 1 lakh people across 9 prefectures in Japan have been evacuated so far. However, local officials have said efforts have been hindered by damaged roads, reducing accessibility in remote areas. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has said that it's a race against time to rescue the victims. Meanwhile, several households remain without power and see disruptions in water supply. In another tragic event, a Japan Airlines plane caught fire while landing at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. As per reports, the plane with over 370 passengers on board went up in flames after colliding with a Japanese Coast Guard aircraft during landing. All passenger and crew have reportedly been safely evacuated. However, 5 of the 6 crew members in the Coast Guard plane are reportedly dead. Israel has announced that it will scale down military presence in Gaza, indicating a shift towards a lower intensity phase of its war. However, it has plans to continue the fight throughout 2024. Hamas has continued relentless fighting and firing at least 12 rockets from Gaza. Israel's Supreme Court has struck down a controversial government plan to limit the powers of the judiciary. And India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar has said that Canadian politics have given space to Khalistani forces. He added that it also allowed them to indulge in activities that directly impact Indo-Canadian bilateral ties.
The issue at heart is the fact that in Canadian politics, these Khalistani forces have been given a lot of space and have been allowed to indulge in activities which I think are damaging to the relationship, clearly not in India's interest, but I would argue not in Canada's interest either. But unfortunately, that is the state of their politics.
And coming up on India Business Hour, old guards make a comeback in the capital markets in 23. Market cap gains of CK Birla, TVS Iyengar and RPG groups outpace industry titans. Tata Group, however, tops the chart in absolute terms. And you can also catch all CNBC-TV18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. The insurance sector went through some major ups and downs in 23 as the year was all about regulatory changes and the industry response to them. The insurance regulator's annual report summarizes these. Yash Jain is here with more. Yash, how did the sector fare in the last 1 year?
Well, the insurance regulator's annual report has summarized some very interesting facts about the insurance industry in the year 2023. Let's start with the health of life insurance companies. These life insurance companies in 2023 paid a total benefit of about 5 lakh crore rupees to their policy holders. This was 64% of the net premium collected by these life insurance companies. And under the total benefits, if one looks at surrenders and withdrawals, then the value increased by 25% in the year 2023 over the previous year. As far as death claims in the individual business is concerned, life insurance companies settled about 10.6 lakh policies for claims as against 10.76 lakh which were received. With these life insurance companies, a total amount of 28,611 crore rupees was paid as death claims versus an amount of 30,216 crore rupees which was received for claims under the individual business segment. For group business, a total of 12.4 lakh policies were settled as against 12.48 lakh policies which were received for claim settlement. An amount of 17,178 crore rupees was paid as death claims as against 17,769 crore rupees. As far as the health of general insurance companies is concerned, general insurance companies made a total underwriting loss of 32,797 crore rupees. Just 4 PSU general insurance companies contributed to about 77% of the total industry loss. An interesting report from Swiss Re Sigma talks about insurance penetration going down to about 3%. This is life insurance penetration as compared to 3.2% in the previous year. General insurance penetration remained at the same level of about 1%. Another report from the same Swiss Re Sigma says that insurance density that went up to $92 in 2023 as compared to $91, but it's still far away from that global average number of $853.
Thanks, Yash, for joining us with that comprehensive report on the insurance sector. 2023 would be remembered as the year of the comeback of the old guards in the capital markets. Nimesh Shah is here to tell us more about their comeback trajectory.
2023 witnessed a surprising comeback for the old guards in the capital markets. The CK Birla Group, RPG Enterprises and TVS Motors defied expectations, outpacing the industry titans, the likes of Adani's, Reliance and Birla Group in terms of market cap. CK Birla Group led the charge with a remarkable 72% surge in market cap, closely followed by the likes of RPG Enterprises and the TVS Group. However, in absolute terms, the Tata Group tops the chart once again, adding nearly 6 lakh crores in market cap only in 2023. So let's look at the big contributors among the winners in 2023. The first is the CK Birla Group. In that group, Birla Soft and Orient Cement were the two big contributors. Birla Soft rallied nearly 150% and Orient Cement rallied nearly 100%. So these were the two big contributors in that particular group. Now look at the next group, which is the RPG Group. In that group, the biggest contribution came from Zensar Technologies, RPG Life Science and CEAT. Zensar itself rallied nearly 190% in 2023, followed by RPG Life. That stock rallied 60%, and CEAT also rallied nearly 45%, adding close to 10,000 crores in market cap for that particular group. Now look at the TVS Group. In that group, the bellwether TVS Motors was the biggest contributor. That stock rallied nearly 84% in 23, added nearly 95,000 crores in market cap for that group, followed by Sundaram Finance. That stock rallied 51% and added close to 39,000 crores in market cap for TVS Group. Now look at the RP Sanjeev Goenka Group. In that particular group, the biggest contribution came from First Source. That stock rallied 83%, and a small company PCBL that also rallied nearly 97% and added close to 9,600 crores in terms of market cap for that particular group. But as I said earlier, the biggest wealth creation came in Tata Group. In that group, the two big contributors were TCS and Tata Motors. TCS added nearly 1.8 lakh crores in market cap in 2023, but the return was for Tata Motors. A big move in that stock in 2023. That company added nearly 1 lakh crores in market cap for the group in 2023. So as I said, 2023 was a year of return of the old guards in the capital markets.
All right, return of the old guards in the capital markets. Moving on, the Reserve Bank of India has released a draft circular proposing new rules for the declaration of dividends by banks and the remittance of profits to the head office by foreign bank branches. RBI has proposed that banks should meet certain minimum prudential requirements to be eligible to declare dividends or remit profits to the head office in the case of foreign banks. These include meeting the minimum applicable regulatory capital requirement for each of the last 3 financial years, including the financial year for which the dividend is proposed, having a net NPA ratio of under 6% for the year in which dividend is proposed, among others. Comments have been invited on the draft circular from stakeholders, latest by the 31st of January. The union budget is less than 30 days away. What is your wish list for the finance minister? Presenting the CNBC-TV18 budget ballot box coming to a hotspot near you. Yes, that's right. We will be placing these ballot boxes at popular public spots like malls, colleges, theatres and others across major cities. We will also be asking the newsmakers who drop into our studios for their budget wish list. So come, join us and tell us what is your top budget wish from the finance minister. Drop your wish list at a CNBC-TV18 budget ballot box near you. We will compile them and present it to the finance minister before she presents the union budget. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.